Jaswa is a very integral part of the Thai network globally. He's part of the global board, currently the president of Thai Silicon Valley President Emeritus, serial entrepreneur, investor, and now he's pursuing his passion of teaching and giving back to the community and by teaching entrepreneurship at IITs. And whenever Raj is traveling to Mumbai, we sort of catch hold of him and invite him. We should catch over a bit because I think we've done this twice before. Yeah, and we sort of got into this.
I'm a very willing fish, I'd love to get this opportunity to talk to you.
So today I think Raj is speaking about the opportunities in India and the strategies we could take. So we'll make it very attractive. I think people will be moving in. We've got a lot of RSVPs and the idea of the session, the breakfast session, is to make it very interactive. So I think I was...
Yeah, we'll just make it and...
Yeah, about 10:30.
10:30? And after that, you can ask questions. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of get this thing going. I'll just give a 10-minute or 15-minute summary of my own journey, and then focus on where I think what has changed in the environment, which has made it such a fabulous environment for startups and for entrepreneurship, then we can talk about how it all relates to individuals, startup situations, and so on. We just open it up to questions and so on. And basically, I was an entrepreneur for the last 25 years. Before that, about 10 years in corporate after brought from my own right? And director Sunil Jain from IIT Gandhinagar was a lot of the directors from IIT visit Silicon Valley and the US and so on. And he came by and talked about everything that was going on at IIT Gandhinagar. It was very entrepreneurial, especially with his leadership. And it seemed that it would be a good place for me to kind of give a talk or so on entrepreneurship, similar to what I'm doing here. And Sudhir is an amazing guy. He said, Raj, if you really want to have an impact, if you really want to change culture and mindset of the student, you got to come and teach entrepreneurship in a structured way, give them assignments, let them study because you have to study. And so I thought about it and I said, okay, why not? Let's just do 2 months. So I did 8 weeks. I've just finished 8 weeks of teaching entrepreneurship full time in IIT Gandhinagar. I worked with 30 students, and I think I'd say it has been a very rewarding experience. The reason is that I think I took students who are very bright, all IIT kids, super bright. They know everything about everything that's going on in the Dropbox and internet and Facebook, and they know everything that's going on, right? But their understanding of business is very light. It's like they've got everybody is so excited about reading about WhatsApp, about the 19 billion, Snapchat. The founder turns down a $3 billion cash offer 2 years after starting it. He dropped out from Stanford. He rejects the offer, right? So they are all aware of all this exciting stuff, but they have no idea as to how to get into it and how to participate, even though they've got probably the same IQ, even higher IQ than all the other kids starting these companies. So for me, it was a great opportunity to kind of take that, kind of latent intelligence and interest in entrepreneurship and that in a structured way over 8 weeks. And I think it's been tremendous because now if you see where they are in terms of their understanding, I think they are probably more sophisticated than most of the successful entrepreneurs out there about the whole entrepreneurial process. What I did was Harvard teaches the case study method. So the case studies and everybody reads the whole kit, and they have this interactive session. The professor kind of brings up responses from the students and organizes kind of the message he wants to do. So I decided that in this day and age, with all the contacts that we have, why not have live case studies of entrepreneurship? And I basically had 5 successful entrepreneurs from the US wake up at 6:30 in the morning to do Google Hangout with the kids. And all of these 30-minute sessions became 2.5-hour sessions, as you can imagine. For these guys to get a chance to talk to somebody who just sold lace band to Visa for $220 million, this is like, lifetime opportunity. And there were 5 such entrepreneurs from the US, and then through TIE, Ahmedabad, I basically got 3 entrepreneurs who had successfully built successes in Ahmedabad to come and talk about how they did it, because building a company in Ahmedabad has its own challenges. But there are entrepreneurs, believe it or not, lots of them out there. So TIE Ahmedabad has got about 60 charter members, and out of which I got 3 of them that I felt had, one was in education, and she's now got 32 schools that she's running, and a very, very profitable, successful entrepreneurial kid. Another one was set up a steel industry. He does QA and everything in steel. And somebody was in the piping industry. Yes, steel piping. Yeah. So over 25, 30 years, he built up a steel industry business. He was an engineer, and he started in Baruch. He started a steel manufacturing plant 25 years ago in a GIDC plot. It was kind of, when he explained how he did it, everything was, even to me, it was fascinating. And now he's got offices in Canada and Shanghai, and Vietnam, Philippines, here, Australia. So very, very successful guy over 25, 30 years. And then the last one was this one who started a family-run business. He was an IT guy who started a family-run, power electronics business almost 35 years ago. And then from family-run, after about 20 years, they got to a point where they got private equity to come in. And then finally, right now, Hitachi bought 60% of his company. Hitachi's got 60%, he's got 40%. And now, so I wanted to show the students how a company can evolve over 30 years from just family run to professionally invested to now a part of a global corporation, right? And so we took them to the factory at Sanand, right next to the Tata Nano plant. And it was kind of 3 hours, walked to the factory, they kind of saw, because these IIT kids, they're not just going to build e-commerce platforms and things like that, software things, they should see how real, tangible, industrial startups can also happen, right? And can, over 25, 30 years, become massive companies. So between, by doing this case study method, and then I get them to analyze everything in 14 categories, I've got 14 questions, things that they should analyze every entrepreneur's journey. And I'll give you the 14 points today that I get them to analyze. And once they analyze it, each of them is now beginning to have a good framework of how to then, do their own entrepreneurials. And then we got, I said, find 7 needs in your house, in your neighborhood, in your school, in your friends, in your Gujarat and India, but solve a problem, find a problem that you want to solve here, and a need that you want to solve here, with an entrepreneurial solution. An entrepreneurial solution is something that is scalable, repeatable, profitable. So, I said, don't try to do, see, India is full of what I call small businesses or businesses. Basically, basically kind of feed yourself. Like, so you don't have to work, self-employment type of companies. Lots of them, right? Every street corner, farmer, everybody's and there's a tendency to call them entrepreneurs. But they're not really entrepreneurs, they are those in my opinion. Farmer becomes entrepreneurial if he's got a scalable model, he's got a repeatable model, and he's got a profit. So if he franchises this thing, or he creates an organization and he gets kind of funding to, so the business model is such that the more money you put in or the more people you put in, the more shops you get, it multiplies. Now you've got an entrepreneurial cake, right? So a lot of people even senior people don't really understand the difference between Dhando and entrepreneurship.
Dhando is a micron.
You can call them entrepreneurs, but
That's
you're
the
actually
definition.
messing them up because you're confusing them. The fact that they're not entrepreneurs, they're just self-employed people, right? They are not entrepreneurs. Entrepreneur is somebody, because there are so many skills that are needed, and these are all management skills, right? Negotiation, due diligence, accounting, finance, strategy. All of these are management skills that you bring to bear on your idea and your business model in order to be successful. If you don't bring, all the best management practices into your company, they'll never become an entrepreneurial success, right? So basically, first thing is to realize who's an entrepreneur, not somebody who does, just self-employed. The idea is you've got to create something that is three words: scalable, repeatable, profitable. Right? You've got to have those three in your head as you look at every initiative that you take. Anyway, so I'll quickly go through my presentation, my three companies, and then talk about the opportunities, and then we look at how to create that entrepreneurial mindset among ourselves, entrepreneurs, so that you can become successful in entrepreneurship. So in my particular case, serial entrepreneur, as I tell everybody, I get bored very quickly. After every 7 years, I'm bored. So basically, I ended up creating over 21 years, 25 years, over three companies, one in semiconductors, one in enterprise software, and one in consumer. Right? All three different kinds of segments. Funding is also very different. The first one, kind of family run or angel funding, about $1 million. Second one, VC. Then once you get a credibility and reputation, you can raise money. And the size of funding is also very different. Less than $1 million the first time, then 35 debt. But you'll find that there's no correlation between the amount of money you have and the amount of success you have. There's no correlation, independent of what VCs say. Sometimes the least funded companies are most successful financially. But they've got to still solve the money problem. When you've got to solve it, create it. Okay. And if you look at my customers, PC manufacturers, these are big global corporations, Fortune 500, transfer entertainment companies, different products, chips, chemicals, video, distribution, teams, it's a multicultural environment. So the first company is 80% Chinese, right? The rest was all hybrid. And 50-50 US, India, and then 80% US. So business model, also here we never lost money, here we never made money, but both of them were great successes. The last one, a goal was profitable recurring revenue, but that's a very difficult model for entrepreneurial startup, and we'll talk a little bit about it. So first case, I had an IPO for Opti, $400 million valuation, was selected by a $5 million valuation in the cloud software. And this one, we had to shut the operations down because the competition from the big guys was so big that we felt that we'll never get to the profitable recurring revenue. So they said, let's just sell the platform that we made the development. Putting it $50 million. So that's a big very good. Great. The important thing is that a kind of extracted some very key principles that I felt were very important to why these entrepreneurial companies succeeded from very small all the way to an IPO. And I think companies that can get a good M&A exit or IPO exit, that's a good outcome, very good outcome for startup. So clearly, number one is responsive to market, and the message I kind of give everybody is, is that you will be responsive to the market at every stage of it. When you're starting, when you're doing a product development, marketing, and then after you become successful with your first product, onwards going. And I say that sometimes the biggest companies forget principle number one. So, quick quiz. Name, three companies, big companies that did not listen to the market. And right in front of your eyes, BlackBerry, Nokia, Sony, Xerox, Kodak, massive companies. They forgot to listen to the customer. And it's not that their industries disappeared. In fact, the industries became 10 times bigger in the last 5 years. And they have disappeared. And they had 80% of the, 50, 70, 80% of the market 5 years ago, and today they are bankrupt. Microsoft is also the same thing, right? So, they're facing ridiculous competition against from Google and others who are using cloud-based, methodology, trends, etc. And kind of a whole new approach to product development where, Microsoft is still stuck with a 30-year-old product development methodology and decision-making methodology in the company. They're stuck with 30 years of success. And the new guys are saying, we're going to be responsive to the market, we're going to do fast product development, or agile product development. If Microsoft releases a new version every year, 2 years, 5 years.
The buggiest ones.
And then it's too buggy. and it's not that Android is not buggy.
Yeah.
But they do a release every week or every 3 days or every day. They might have multiple releases, right? And Gmail keeps on changing, and it just is a continuously evolving product. While Yahoo Mail has not changed in 10 years that I know of. While Gmail keeps on changing, like every day it's like, oh my God, ये नया क्या है? On my, and you find that somebody through feedback said this is good, let's give it. And so anyway, agile product development is kind of the current way. You can't, if you don't do it, going to be those the biggest being having all the money in the world is not going to make sense. Great teamwork, because the message I give here is that when you're small and with co-founders and so on, you're going to have great teamwork because everybody's interests are aligned, everything is aligned. You can talk to each other, whatever decisions you make, all that stuff happens very quickly. The problem is that when you scale up, if you're not created the culture of delegating and trusting and all of these things, if you've not created that from day one, those guys will not basically take decisions. They will not take initiative to solve problems. They will not be responsible. They will do all the stuff that we want them to do. They won't do it because they think that boss, you're going to wait for the boss to make the decision. And you can do it with 5 people, 10 people, 20 people, 30 people. What will happen with 100 people? What will happen with 500 people? What will happen with 1,000 people? The whole system just breaks down. So we're going to start this whole teamwork, delegating, trusting, etc. right from day one. We're going to get that into the company. And I'm not saying delegate and trust and then let them work the company. I'm just saying delegate, trust, and still manage and sophisticate. Using the latest management techniques of super monitoring, reporting. Create kind of the processes in the company that will result in great teamwork working for you rather than hurting you. Next one I say is that competition is, basically, I tell people to read this book, Sun Tzu, because, what he's done, he had the same problem that, every entrepreneur has, which is small army, limited resources, everybody's against you, the weather is against you, the terrain is against you, the other company, other organization has got more weapons, more food, more this, everything, and yet he never lost a war. He never lost a single battle. And he kind of abstracted all his knowledge and wisdom in just 30, 40 pages. And the book cost $1 on Amazon. It's the best $1 you spend. But after spending that, you're going to study it, unfortunately, which will take a year of study to really learn how to apply his techniques to your business. Right? So, very interesting example is like, how do you basically, we all have to compete for POs. Right? You compete for the business. And typically, you're competing with other companies that are small. You're also competing with big companies that have already got established accounts, etc. You're competing with internal development, for example, for a lot of IT people. So you're competing with all kinds of people all the time when you're running a startup. And you better be the best competitor there is. Because if you're going to succeed, you better be a top-notch guy at learning how to compete, right? So, and then you want your team to have that same competitive edge, desire to win. So the desire to win is absolutely critical. And so for Sun Tzu, like, how do you create this desire to win? So Sun Tzu said that if you never want to lose a war or battle, basically you take your army and then sail across the river in boats, line them up along the river banks, but with their back to the water, and then you set your boats on fire. So he said that an army that is lined up like that will never lose a battle. You know why? Because it's like they're going to die by falling into the water, or they can live if they win the battle. And so they're so motivated to win that they're going to basically handle 10, 15 soldiers before if they go before they die or whatever. And then, so they can handle armies 10 times, 100 times the size. And we see that in real life right now, where Middle East. Has Israel ever lost a battle? Or they've never lost a battle, because for them battle is end of life. Why for the Arabs losing a battle is like we'll go back and we got more land, more desert to get into, we can go backwards. So basically, and now you could take that simple lesson and apply it to your business. So how do you apply that to your business? So basically, I read the book because one of my vice presidents at sales told, right, you've got to read this book. So one vacation, one holiday from India, studied the book, and I said, so when I started this company, I was very, very familiar with this Sun Tzu's Art of War and how to apply it and everything. So basically, like a startup, has to win the POs, right? Win the businesses. So basically, when we're starting Selectica, 2 years into the life of the company, basically Sun puts out an RFP, 150-page RFP to do enterprise level configuration for their servers, which would integrate with their ERP system and which will interface with their CRM system and with their Salesforce management system and the compensation system. 200 page. And here's like a 20 company startup that has not got a single order. First thing. So this RFP just shows up because somebody was for configuration. They were doing configuration RFP, system RFP, and they sent it out to 20, 30 companies after doing a web search. They found us, right? And this 200-page RFP shows up, and I told my whole company, okay, we're going to shut down all of the initiatives, but we're going to win this battle. We're going to go ahead and win this order, right? So our configuration technology was the best. It was from IIT, PhD, Guru at Xerox Park and so on. We had the best configuration. But that was only 2% of the RFP, right? The RFP was integration with all these systems and reporting and documentation, all kind of stuff. So basically, like we had 6 months evaluation cycle, and so basically, like all the engineers and other groups were really nervous about what we were doing, but I said we're going to go for it. So in 6 months, we basically ended up doing 2 years of work because rapidly developed some sort of reporting system, some sort of documenting, some sort of analytics module, because, so, and then we knocked out pretty much all the other competitors except the biggest guy, Trilogy. And then, we said, how do we get this business? So, we barely raised $1 million in funding, and we put a quote out for $3 million, which we thought was a big number. And basically, Sun looked at it, and my competition put out $27 million. And Sun looked at it, and we automatically lost credit. $3 million is too little for a multi-billion-dollar company that has $3 billion in sales or $5 billion in sales, and you do $3 million to configure all the orders, right? So we basically lost a little bit of credibility there, and then the CIO got so nervous, even though we had the best technology, that she got nervous about giving us the business. It was probably the right decision for her. So she gave the business to Trilogy because it's a safety. Obviously, my whole team was disheartened because they lost. But I said, even I was disappointed because I thought that these guys had 24 hours a day for 6 months they've been working. So I kind of got them into a room, and I said, yes, we lost the battle. But really, let's sit back and think. What was the sophistication of this company's product and technology and solution before this RFP? Right? We were at this level, we were great in configuration, but never had an enterprise level solution, something that solves the whole problem or even addresses the whole problem. So I said, we have taken our product and improved it and got a 2-year jump on all the other competitors by working on this thing. So yes, we've lost the battle, but you lose the war only when you give up. So we are not going to give up. Our VCs are not giving up. They love the fact that we made it all the way to this being the second time. So we put that on. Then a few months later, RFP comes from Siemens. That's another matter. And this time, also we basically, did this whole Sanju thing. And basically, the Siemens guy said, great product, great everything. We said, I need engineers to use it. To use your product, it requires engineers. I've got salesmen out there. They are not engineers, so it's not an easy to use product. It needs to be such that it's so idiot-proof that anybody can use the product. In a complex configuration system and pricing system. So I said, so we gave the business to somebody else who had easy to use front end, etc. So I said, do you mind giving me the information about how to make my product easy to use? And this German guy, 65-year-old guy, said, okay, here's the spec. Go and implement this. And we'd already lost the order, the competition already got it, and I told them that okay, in 90 days we'll come back and we'll show you that we do it. So he said he didn't believe that I would do it, but I told my engineers, you need to have somebody who tells you how to improve your product so that it succeeds in the marketplace. There's nobody, you cannot do all this stuff sitting in your office. Some customer who's got 30, 40 years of wisdom and knowledge and hands-on experience has to tell you and take you under his wings to teach you what really needs to be done. So, he was not expecting me to come back. He said, I already gave him the order to your competition, why would you come back? So, I walked in and 90 days later I said, look, we have finished our product, so we showed him the stats. He said, no, this is not good enough. I tried to, it's easy to use, but I need to have something where, I can just click on it and I can see what's going on in the whole business. And I need to have an online real-time analytics package and all that stuff. So Again, I said, "Do you mind giving me his back?" And so finally he did that. And then I said that, you've given the other guy the order, doesn't he have some problems? So he said, "Look, I cannot give you what the other company is doing for us. They're not happy with that." And so he said, "But I'll let you see it." So, I said, "I got to see what the competition is really doing in the real world, right?" So he led me into his engineer's office, or his IT person's office, and he displayed it. And then when we got in 6-7 points, I figured out as to where they were weak, where they're not done a good job. Because fundamental architectural problems. Once you can really get your hand on the competition's product, imagine you get a chance to see what's the insides of your competition. Every product has gotchas. We know that, right? So given that opportunity, so once that happened, I made a list of 7 or 8 items, which were great places, and then the next deal that came along at GE for MRI system integration, I basically walked in. I've got the easiest use product, great reporting, real-time, management of the whole system, dashboard and all that good stuff. Obviously, great configuration engine, AI-based, and this and that. And all of a sudden, I've got this thing, right? So, and then still the competition was attacking us and so on. So still now, I've not won a single order against all these big competitors. So they all got their involved. Selectica is gone. But in the meantime, I've continuously improved my product to be world class. So at GE, we do this, and then when it comes to a competitive fly-off, I basically pulled out the 7 points that I learned over the competitive weakness. I said, "Look, I shouldn't tell you this, you should let your own IT engineers discover this, but let me just give you a little piece of paper so that, it'll become easier for your IT engineers to, find these issues and confirm these issues." And so I whip out these 7 problems, and give it to them, and obviously they're real because I personally validated, and $1 or $10 million order that. And then after that, at IBM we won, and after that, I basically at the sales conference I said, "Look, this is why we can kill the competition, and we've successfully killed them here, for these reasons. So now, as a sales team, if any of you lose against this competitor, I'm going to fire. Because it means that you're not doing your job well. Engineering team has done a good job, support team has done a good job, management's done a good job. As a salesman, if you don't do a good job, basically." So it got to the point where if a Selectica salesman walks into an account and his name is at the receptionist desk, he signed in, competitive salesman would turn around and get out because he wouldn't even want to compete with us anyway. So basically, by going from using all of these techniques and then finally teaching your team to learn from every experience, every success or loss, you have to make them into a learning machine. Then you can end up with a team that will help you build a very, very successful big company. And you personalize your relationship with the customer, as I explained with that German customer. So you personalize it so that you can get, maybe you won't get the business, but you'll get invaluable information which will set you up for success. So when you personalize your relationship with the customer, you can do great. And then total transparency is like where you basically don't succumb to kind of easy solutions. So it's a family-run company, and if you say, "Look, even though you start giving perks and things like that, you find that you're basically mortgaging the future. Chance of professional money ever coming in, risk capital ever coming in, all of that gets messed up. So when you go public, they look at every transaction for the last 3-4 years just to see what kind of manager are you, what kind of leader are you, are you going to take care of the common shareholders' interests, right? So total transparency from day one is required if you're ever going to become a big successful company. Anyway, so I use the same techniques in just about every day. You're applying these techniques in some form or fashion to things that are happening in terms of customers, in terms of products, and all of those things. And with no money, no technology, no fad, competing in a semiconductor business against people that are public companies with hundreds of millions of dollars. It was a known market, it's a business. Yet in 5 years, we became the world's largest chipset maker. 25 million PCs in 1994 using our stuff, all becoming using our stuff. The revenue of 170 million, very profitable, and 90 years old. So it's in 5 years, with a scalable, repeatable business model, profitable business model, we could take this company and I think on Selectica, also we were late against other entrepreneurial startups. They received lots of funding from the biggest companies. We didn't have experience here, but even though as an entrepreneur, compared to a company that's already in the market, we have so many weaknesses, but you solve the problem. So basically, without experience in the software market, I got it I used that German guy to teach me. I got the Sun RFP to teach me. I learned everything in spite of not having all of that. Didn't have any relations and credibility, but then figured out how to break into that. And then in 5 years, we actually started replacing our competition. And you can imagine how difficult that is, getting them to rip out a competitor's product in an IT platform and putting in ours. We started signing $10 million licenses. We had 800 employees worldwide, 400 in India, 400 in the US, and we did this IPO for $5 million, just 15 million revenue. And both are still public companies. With Dino, which is consumer services, also we went after the same thing where video was free, you're fighting against all these guys. See this thing, mature industry, 5 years late. And we kind of finally built up a platform, we started doing stuff, but then the VC kind of had problems going after the big business situation. Sold the platform. Kind of disappointed that they didn't want to go for it, but you sometimes have to work with whatever your partners, to the investors, feed them. Anyway.
Do you have any?
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Your sons. There's a little story on each of them. Let's see. Lando, so what's the present status of Lando right now?
So basically, they've shut down the company, but they've just taken the license for the platform. And it's a massive platform, right? Yeah, so this is actually we built a whole OTT platform so that curated TV channel, which became our main business model, or professional video, like we were doing streaming for Chinmay Mission and all the religious organizations and managers and everything. So we were doing professional video, we were doing curated TV channels, and we were doing personal family. So we would make people free video channels. We had 300,000 free video channels. We had about 100 such customers, and we had about 600 TV channels from 60 countries that were streaming on about 8 different platforms. Smart TVs like Samsung TV and others. We had PC-based stuff, and then we had tablets and mobile. So basically, people would sign up with us, and for $5, $10 a month, they can watch, Malayalam movies or Malayalam TV channels, wherever they are in the world, on 9 devices. So we built a whole platform, everything. We had about 10,000 recurring customers, and we're growing at 3,000 per month. And the goal was to get to 50,000. At 50,000 recurring subs, we were going to be a break-even profitable company. But what happened is that I kind of shot myself in the foot. I thought I was so far ahead of Dish that I said, let me convince Dish to either acquire me or make me a partner. So, and one of my board members was very close to the general manager at Dish. So he set up a meeting for me at Dish, and I walked in and I did something called open my tomorrow, that shared everything, where the opportunity is, how it's growing, how big the market is, what are the key success factors, and why you should acquire to work with us. So I did that, and 9 months later, they basically executed the same strategy, but had engineered their own solution, and they did something that I could not do, which is they went to Roku, the Roku box, which was 80% of my subscribers were on Roku. And they went to Roku and said, I want to become the exclusive for TV channel distribution on the Roku platform. And so Roku, I get this letter from Roku, and I'm growing at 3,000 per month. In 12 months, I was going to be at 50,000. 50,000 multiplied by $10 a month. I was making $500,000 a month, $6 million a year, insanely profitable. The cost would be like $60 million, and I would have a recurring revenue that's profitable and growing, a massive market. And everything was right. And then these guys went and signed an exclusive deal with Roku, where Roku, I get a letter from Roku saying that 2 months, all your customers have to be off the Roku one or off Roku platform. So I have 10,000 customers, and I have to get them to return their Roku boxes and put in a new box. And so I went and grabbed a Chinese Android set-top box and built the whole platform and started distributing that. But Dish basically, essentially had the same TV channels, customer already had a Roku box. So basically, instead of growing 3,000 a month, I stayed at 10,000 for the next 6 months. And then VC said, how are you going to fight Dish? They got the same product, they locked up your market segment. And they also had the anchor TV channels, like NDTV and all of these things, which I did not get because I need $1 million up front before NDTV talked to me. So, basically, I kind of shot myself in the foot on that one. So that it happens sometimes. So then they said, look, why don't you sell the platform? There are so many telcos that wanted to get into this OTT business in Ukraine and everywhere. So they said, we start getting $2 million for everybody to sell.
So after they invested
50.
they invested 50 million. How much you have to invest from yourself?
I can put in $1 million. I put in $1 million.
Now that platform is doing well, the person who bought it.
No, they are just licensing it. The VC is just licensing it. I'm not in that. But,
What kind of stakeholding you have to become when you start out?
15%.
So when you start, when the VC came, you have 15%.
No, before that more.
Yeah, when you came in after that.
At the end of it, at 15%. When we shut it down. But exits happen. All kinds of things happen. But it's really, you should have a great time every day. That's the only satisfaction. Anyway, I think so this is one place where I could not. I think we lost the war on Diamond because the VC basically. And if you had just waited for one more year, the stock market has taken off. Being in a hot market, especially given my reputation, so being public, etc., raising money would have been an IPO would not have been from a problem. I think we could have made it happen. But sometimes people get nervous. And if the investor gets nervous, they're in trouble.
You didn't want to put in more of your money to take it off VC?
I did offer to buy them out. But what happens with VCs is that they can't afford to lose face.
Who is the VC?
I don't know, but you can find that. Yeah.
But finally, it's public.
Public. Yeah. This is smaller VC, unfortunately, and a friend. So.
So after losing this battle, what did you? Yeah. What do you think you could have done better?
What's the takeaway?
Well, already the takeaway is look, I trusted Dish too much, mainly because my board member was making the connection, and it was a very high level connection. I had 8 people from general manager and up sitting in my meeting, and I said so I kind of shared too much information without really understanding where they were. So I should have had independent intelligence, because we all know that IBM used to kill every partner that they had. That's the history, right? Microsoft used to destroy everybody that they partnered with. Right? So all of there's no known stories, right? So these days, like, people acquire them, but in the 80s and 90s, you would have Microsoft, send 20 people into your company, claiming that they want to partner with you, invest in you, but they really such a technology out. And in this particular case, I think I was operating on a mindset that it could be a M&A kind of thing, that it was friendly, meeting, etc. It turned out to be like suck the information out to execute our
I mean, if you met the owner of the company, you would have something. You could have met the people who are kind of thinking people.
But sometimes even Charlie Egan, the CEO, and you don't meet him actually.
He's the owner of the distributor.
Charlie Egan is the CEO of Dish.
He's the owner.
He's a multi-billionaire. This guy has got a reputation of being one of Bill Gates' in the cable industry. So look, personality.
So what did they take basically? Your marketing strategy,
Yeah, basically like
technology.
What they learned was, how to do it.
Like from the technology.
From a technology and how to kind of create the leverage platform, how to create architecture. The other thing they learned was that even though there are many different end devices for OTT, Roku for some reason is very popular for an ethnic community worldwide. For whatever reason, easy to use, whatever it is, one of the first in the market. So unlike Apple TV, it's really Roku that people want to watch ethnic TV. Whether you're Turkish, or whether you are African, or whether you're Indian, or whatever. So they basically went to Roku and became exclusive. If they were not an exclusive, I would have still continued to run the business. When you're exclusive and you've got to tell your existing customer base to migrate to another box, even if you give the free box, it doesn't work.
Roku didn't have a competitor, like equivalent competitor.
No. Unfortunately, like
They're a big market.
the next generation of Android set-top boxes were coming, and we developed a brilliant Android set-top box, even better than Roku. But it was too late.
When we go for such kind of discussion for possible acquiring or
Everybody unfortunately has to at a startup.
so
It's like you're always saying,
can we
friend A, enemy. Is your friend or enemy?
but can you still do these NDAs or do they make sense?
Completely useless. Completely useless.
Both in India for sure, US also.
Any million in the world. NDA, because they've got more lawyers, more IP, more, they will come in and say, oh, you're infringing on my patents. Right? You're going to get them to stop infringing your patent. But they look at your stuff, and even when you walk, you're infringing on the patent. When you eat, you're infringing. You've got patents on everything. If you look at a Microsoft, IBM, the whole idea is not.
Maybe when you're talking to a dish team, still it's that level. Maybe for a top level, say Microsoft, IBM, that is a mix. If you're talking to a dish or even in that
Not
sense.
dish. This is very not like dish.
Yeah, this is the dish is like they own almost 25 million subscribers. They're like $3 billion. Massive. They own it's like Dish, Time Warner, and Comcast. If you look together, they divide the whole entire cable TV business.
Can we say here that ultimately your customer matters? They choose your customer at one go, by exclusive product. At your customer being with you, probably they would not, your number is not built.
No, but we want to get, 10,000 customers, we want to get to a million. A million, I become worth a billion. If I have a million subscribers paying $10 a month, I'm worth a billion.
Yes, sure.
My company is worth a billion. And that was, and I thought I had a roadmap to a billion. So from billion, I became zero. So it's like, all because of, in my opinion, that's one strategic mistake. Maybe they would have done it either way, but I think I kind of made it, given the answer.
But
Sometimes you just give the answer.
the company before this, that was selected. So you got an investor invest in, you said $35 million investment.
We did 35.
You put in how much?
Yeah, I put in this quarter.
And then, in terms of, what was your shareholding?
So basically, by the time we went public, it was 10%.
So, and how is it doing right now? That company is just
Basically, like, all the founders are gone. I'm gone, my CTO is gone, everybody's
how's
gone.
the organization doing?
It's doing horrible. Yeah.
If you stay on, what will happen?
It would be very successful.
I can say that's I'm saying
Because the unfortunate fact of life is that,
they want to move.
Is
They
that-
want you to move, or you
No.
want to move.
no, they pushed me out. So basically, I was there for 7 years. I was the CEO, chairman of the board, president, all three, and everything. But basically, I had, in the board, right? In the board, there are like 6, 7 members, and 3 of them were VCs investing. So they kind of control the majority of the board. It's after 35 million, you cannot control the board, right? So basically, what happened is that as soon as the company went public, we had $230 million in cash in the bank. And we're a public company, so I can even, it's like to print money, right? I want to buy a company, I have to print more stock. I want to buy a $500 million company, I have to print more stock. Valuation is, value the company 10%, but I can buy something. So basically, like, all VCs have hundreds of, maybe 100 companies, out of which 5 are going to do great, another 30 are okay, and then the rest are off. So when a VC sees a company with 230 million in the bank, it's a public number, what do they want you to do? No, they want you to buy their dogs. So basically they want you to buy their dogs. Basically, like what happens?
So they jump ship then?
No, they want you to buy their dog.
Their company that they invested which is not doing well, or through their network,
Buy
they want to buy, so their investment comes out.
Comes out, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. I'm just giving you some
They jump
low
ship.
level. How human beings don't change even if they are up there. Right?
So you can sit on the board and do all this.
And that is what they would like to.
Like, they sit on the board
But
and
they-
do your company. Do your company only. They sit on
Yeah,
their
the board,
company.
do your company.
Just for a
No, but
VC.
he's saying that the majority now goes with them in terms of control.
Yeah.
So they have a way.
Yeah,
They have the ability
And
to,
they-
and it's like, come on, I took you from 2,000 company, I helped you become
This one.
this mine, now, evaluate my dogs and, make them into greyhounds, Make them the fastest runners by acquiring.
So this is
I'm
what the
going to
magic
do-
again.
Huh?
What the magic again?
No.
And your own cost.
You're giving those people an exit.
Exactly.
He's put 100, right? Only 100 is doing well, other 400 is not doing well, right? Sorry, so this 100 has become 1,000, I'm just saying. So you say, take 500 out of this and give me my 100 back indirectly.
So basically, basically, fine. Yeah. So, obviously I have to evaluate. So I did evaluate, but a lot of these entrepreneurs things, are not appropriate. So, I said no. And at some point after 2 years, they said like, maybe you should swap it. And I've got no ability to stop them to swap. And I told them that you're making a mistake because look, I know, how this company was built. Where every company still has weaknesses. I know what the weaknesses are. I'm able to still manage everything. But you have 800 employees. You've got so much money in the bank. You've got the best. You've got Cisco and Dell and IBM and Touch and all these customers, and you've got VPs that you've hired from different companies, big companies that have all this, show that they have the ability to. But really, I think it's the core founding team or founders that have this real insight into how this damn thing works, why it works, and how to make it work. That's in there. Sometimes the VCs forget that. At Google they did not forget that. That's why Fred is back. He's one. Because that is a director back in the top.
Narayan is back in the top.
Good point. So sometimes very good point. Because
Narayan and then no one was living with
nobody really gets it. There is some subtle stuff that people don't get. In terms as to why you win. Ultimately, it's why do you win? And how do you motivate your team to win? And all the stuff that I was trying to teach. That is lost, right? When you get just professional Harvard MBAs or IIM MBAs.
They had no clue.
They want polished slides and lots of data and analytics. That is not where the magic is. The magic is somewhere else. It's like anybody making a pizza. Everybody can make a pizza. Like why this guy's pizza? Everybody goes to his pizza and ignores all the pizza making. So there is some magic somewhere. In every way there is magic.
It's still there. It's just
everything is there. But the thing is, when I left, there were 130 million in the bank. Now it's down to 10 million in the bank.
What was that revenue?
Revenue is about 20 million.
So what about your those Chinese partners of yours?
Yeah.
They also found the same opinion, or they went more on the VC side?
Look, everybody became independent treatment. So one person became VC, another decided that he wants to continue being entrepreneur. Basically, once you have a successful exit,
So the board got
you
shared.
get a freedom to do what you want. Do whatever you like to do in life.
Makes sense.
You can be an entrepreneur, you can be an investor, you can be
I see
a professor like me, you can
It's
be
a typical syndrome.
whatever you want, you can do.
Right, I think it's typical syndrome in Silicon Valley that you move on. Many entrepreneurs move on. They move on. People who go from India and land up in Silicon
Move on
Valley.
because you're pushed out or
Whatever it is, they move on. They push towards.
yeah.
But India, at least I see that they want to stick it out till they die. Most entrepreneurs try to do that, and somehow or other, with the minimal amount of stakeholding in the company, 10% also they run the company. How do they manage that better?
Well, actually,
Because family
no,
business.
that is a very good point. See, the point is that the amount of founders right now are trying to figure out a way by which this professional money that comes in does not basically kick them out. Sometimes for good reasons, sometimes for bad reasons. Sometimes because of possessiveness. And sometimes also because they feel that they destroy, professional money will destroy the company by bringing in professional managers who don't understand anything about your business. Right? Because lots of startups die when professional people come in. And then every now and then there's a startup that really takes off when professional person comes in. Like Google took off because election came. Google would not have taken off without election.
But is also a guy who was running the company. He's just not a.
No, but the thing is that they found the right guy.
Found the right guy.
So basically, every now and then you'll get a guy who's professional, but also got amazing ability to build companies, and he just gets it. But majority of the time, in my opinion, bring in a professional guy from Harvard traditional, or iron traditional, whatever, and the company just dies because the management style is too hands-off. At Opti, what happened is that when it became public, etc., like a lot of push from the investors and board members to bring in somebody with top guy from Intel or National or something like that, HP or something. And so we hired one guy from National Semiconductor who was vice president there for 25 years and so on. And it completely changed the culture of the company because this is just an unfortunate, very ethnic situation. He's a Gora, he's a white guy, 25 years, VP at National and so on. And only about 10% of the company was white in that county. The rest was Indian and Chinese. And they were all working very harmoniously for 90% of us, I think. And as soon as the white CEO came in, before you know it, all the 10% white were basically in his office, surrounding him all the time. And he basically mingled only with them. And here, 90% of the company is ethnic. We all know, we are the engineers, we are the guys who know how the business is run. And he cannot connect with us on a communication basis. So that became, so a year later, the company essentially didn't take the right business decisions. The company started sliding, and people just growing like a rocket. And we missed a few critical turns in that company in terms of signing on fabs. There was a shortage of fab capacity and other things started. It was kind of, everybody knew it was happening. But this guy did not take the decisions to take the money and invest in fab capacity and so on. And do deals with TSMC and UMC and others to lock up some fab capacity. They're putting in 10 million, 20 million of investment. And basically, like, a year later, we found that we had customers but no fab capacity and things like that. So finally, the board, etc., we said, we've got to get rid of this guy. So we got rid of this white guy. But, we had missed some key turns. So even though we had great sales and great success, but in the last year, we knew that we had missed the next generation. And things were... So we kind of, paid the price for hiring. But, that happens to a very large number of companies. So it's a very tricky thing for the board and for the founders to decide how to make the transition. And founders do run out of their depths. That we do realize. The founders are sometimes only good from 2 people to 100 people. But they're not good from 100 to 1,000. Other people are good to 1,000, but they can't go from 1,000 to a multinational global company. So basically everybody's got their limitations, and it's a kind of a dynamic challenge to figure out, to do the transition, to a new management, to an outsider, all that happens.
But you will figure, this gentleman who came from National Center, you will figure out his mindset when he started operations, that this is not working with us. And like you said, the first thing we saw was all the Bora sitting in his cabin. Now that itself was just a sign.
We give a sign, but then you always have to give a chance. Everybody's right.
So why did Opti, like you said that you didn't have money, you didn't have, and there was a lot of competition from it. So why did it do well? Like what was it made it do so well?
Then you have to sit in my entrepreneurship course.
You get a small answer.
No, because so basically there I did number one thing that I did was something about agile product development. Okay? So in agile product development, semiconductor PC business is all about the next generation of PCs based on Intel coming out with the fastest CPU. So every time Intel comes out with faster CPUs, you need the next generation of chipsets based on faster processors, etc. With different cache architecture. So basically there is multiple, it's all generational. And in PCs there is something called design win cycle. So after you design it in, basically the manufacturer will run that product line for 6 months to a year. Right? So you've got to be there plan the design. Right? So, as a startup, you know, the only thing that you got advantage is going to be time to market. So, basically, in the PC market, the way chips were done by all the big companies, so all the big companies, chips, Intel, data set, was run by product managers, etc. And they would, engineers would design the chip, then they will make a sample run, which will take 60 days to come out, and then they will ship the samples. Then the people start designing the motherboard, and then they will find the faults in it, do some testing, take another month, then the engineers fix it, and then hopefully the next run will be good. So it takes 6 months between releasing the product, coming out with a new chipset, and then really going into production. 6 months for the cycle. So basically, I told my engineers that, look, if you design the perfect chipset based on the traditional development cycle of 6 months, by the time I come out, I'll be competing with chips and technologies, Intel, VLSI, everybody. And I don't have reputation, I don't have credibility, our documentation will be weaker, we are not going to have best pricing because we cannot buy in big quantity, etc. Fabs only give me capacity, so I said, yes, you guys might be able to develop the best product in 6 months with smarter engineers and so on. But my salesman is going to make it impossible for my salesman to sell the product. So I said, let's do the following. We are going to design the perfect chipset the first time. And I've got $1 million in the bank. That's what I raised. And I'm going to put all $1 million to order production chips the day you release it the very first time, without testing. We're going to take all our money and buy the chipsets. So basically the fabs and everybody they said, you're crazy, you're putting $1 million on a chip that you never tested. And I told the engineer, we're going to die that way, which is 90 of we're going to die. But here, at least you got a chance of succeeding. So, we put in $1 million, they were nervous like hell, of course, because, the whole company is going to die. They don't talk to each other and see that the polarity of the signals interfacing with each other are the right up and down. And those are the silly mistakes that happen. But they're not read the spec completely. And my VP of engineering got ulcers, stomach ulcers, and all kinds of stuff happened because of the stress. Because we've taken the stress of the success of the whole company and put it on the heads of 10 engineers. The whole company lives or dies depending on you guys make a mistake or not make a mistake. And as you'd expect, we got a perfect chip back. And when my customers, when I walk into customers, first of all, they are amazed that we have this kind of stuff working. And then they said, okay, when are you going to be able to ship us the product? I cannot do business with you because you're never going to ship me the product. I said, how many do you want and when? You send me the PO, tomorrow you're going to get 10,000 chips. and so we started sending me chips, and then I'm shipping, almost 250,000 chips out, where 6 months ahead of the competition, and the competition is saying impossible, who's this? And then suddenly, at the next context, I had 100 customers with Opti motherboards for 486 PCs, while everybody else just had a big spec about what their chip was doing. For 6 month lead that I had, my revenue went from 0 to 25 million in 1 year, $19 million of profit. See, this is what, and then I went to 65 million, 35 million in profit. It's like in private company, 100 million revenue after that, 35 million profit. Then you look at how you public. So the thing is that, you apply this agile product development and all of these strategies to do stuff that completely changes the game of the competition. they just don't know what hit them because big companies, ended up, just disappearing. Because, small company came out of nowhere and basically locked up the whole business. Like, the salesman would say, okay, we've got a great chipset. And I say, I'm already shipping all these PCs with the latest and greatest chipset. And, see, this thing is happening all around us all the time. Like, Microsoft is running around saying, look, I've got this new Windows 8 for smartphone and tablet and everything. And all the guys in China are saying, hey, we've got Android, all the engineers know Android, they've given us the source code, they've given us free license, and you're coming around Windows 8. The market is gone. The time to market is an important driving factor. And see, that's what you have to realize is happening in those case values.
What's happening to the company?
So this company, we had filed a whole bunch of patents when we were developing, and we were all ahead of the market. So when you're ahead of the market, you get patentable IPR. Right? So we had patented all kinds of stuff because to protect ourselves from Intel and IBM, when they would attack us with patents, we had patents. So now they basically decided to shut the company down, and they only got 2 people, and they are just filing lawsuits. It's become an IPR company. And every year they're making $20 million from, NVIDIA paid $20 million, AMD paid $20 million. Every company, because of the patents on, some hashing or something.
Stop being
You make more money with, $20 million, 2 people, they're breaking it down. It's become a pure IPR industry.
Interesting business model.
That happens when you have the
but then because the patents, what happens is that
But why
if
do
you
they
have
carry
patents
on?
and you're running a business, then you cannot license patents. Because as soon as you get a license for patent for money, their IPR people will check your products and say, oh, you're infringing on this patent, this patent, this patent. So basically you shut your business down and you just attack. That's why you can become an IPR. See, if they were selling even one product, they could not have a generate $20 million.
So, but why
So
do
the whole
they?
idea is to be look up. Then you can,
But why didn't they grow as a?
you can
Save
make a lot of money with that. You're not like
your energy for good things.
Why didn't they want to grow as a semiconductor company?
Because that requires a lot of things. That requires, technology, requires engineers, marketing people, that's smart business. So basically, at some point, that's gone, right? And Silicon Valley, a lot of the people, they learn stuff, they do stuff, and they start their own company. So, like every company, it's like, a supernova, when it explodes, a whole bunch of new stars are born. Same thing happens in Silicon Valley all the time. Every time a big company falls apart, like Microsoft fell apart, there'll be 1,000 new startups. You agree? And all of them together in 5 years will be 10 times bigger than Microsoft. So, we're all waiting for Google to fall apart. Because there are so many bright engineers and who are all doing so much great stuff. And all of them can be independent stuff.
Do you see that happening?
Huh?
It's the latest for Facebook.
Yeah.
Raj, do you see that happening?
Huh?
Do you see that happening? Google and Facebook falling apart?
Well, I think there are lots of dynamics. They'll definitely fall apart. No
In the near
star.
future, foreseeable future, yeah.
Huh?
In the foreseeable, like 5 years.
It'll require some very bad management on the part of Google to fall apart. Right now, they've got very good management. So we are hoping that they'll get very bad management. Because right now, Google is the biggest headache for all startups. Because as soon as Google sees a success in anything, their engineers already develop more. And then, they've got agile product. They've got, very smart people. They've got the platform. They've got the reputation. They've got the money. They've got leadership that is willing to throw money at brilliant new ideas. As much money as you want. So basically, it's like it's like a machine. It's a monopolistic entrepreneurial monster. That's the problem.
But also
That Google
provides
has
an
created.
opportunity for
Huh?
it also provides opportunity for a lot of business and entrepreneurs to exit. Like Google that when they buy one company, they will
It's 1 in 10,000. Yeah.
Which is
What
what
is the
is-
other 999?
Yeah, Cisco did the same
One
thing
time
in
do well.
Datacom.
Okay.
Cisco did the same thing in Datacom. Like India, they were buying 50 companies. So it's
Correct.
great. But, finally you're going to fight Cisco if you're a startup.
I mean, how many WhatsApp are you ever going to create again? Let's see.
question.
See it in the next 2 years.
Flipkart will give India a start.
No, that's why the opportunity again are great in a place like India, because I was just talking to my son, so he said, look, Dad, when you go to India, when you talk to these entrepreneurs, tell them that, look, in China, there are so many companies like Baidu and others that are all worth $100 billion market cap globally. All of these companies, just servicing the Chinese monster equivalent, are worth $100 billion. Which company in India, also with 1 billion people with a different ethnic background than the US, has a company, do we have 5 or 10 companies that are worth $100 billion in IT and internet? Why not? The reason is that, there's several reasons for that. But basically those issues of infrastructure and 3G, 4G and all the stupid stuff that the politicians have done in terms of completely notching up our infrastructure in IT and internet and everything is what has prevented us from entrepreneurs from creating these great companies which are the equivalent of the Chinese Tenyu and Venue and all that stuff, right?
And also barriers to entry, right? There are artificial barriers to entry that
So that is what the politicians have been doing. Put the barriers to entry so that we can create our own internal WhatsApp. We can create our
I think
own.
English is a big barrier. So initially we were thinking that India should know English, so they're good. But I think if we didn't know English, then we could probably have Facebook equivalents, we would have like Alibaba.
But then we would not acquire.
So maybe the opportunity is to create Hindi, Telugu, Malayali chats and so on. Why are we not creating them? Each of them is equal to a whole country, right? I mean, we've got 100 million Malayali, we've got 100 million Telugu. Each of them is a country.
English.
Huh?
No, we are
It won't be like WhatsApp.
No, but
Hindi,
I think that
People
people
that kind of
that is still English might still be only about 10%.
10%. 90% is not.
If you create devices and so on.
Yeah, but the smartphones will get a little cheaper, and then almost this 30% of the population is having smartphones. That will happen.
But I think
So I don't know
we
what
should start
the
with
startups with creating the Telugu equivalent of Facebook and da all in Telugu.
But you
All
can
in
most
Telugu.
people who can read or write, if they can read or write Telugu, they know English.
Yeah, that's a problem. I have a different
No,
question.
it's not true. There are so many people who would love. I have people that now do WhatsApp by writing local language in English.
Yeah.
So app will be, app kaise ho, KISC ho, show. So that's how they write.
Which is what else.
So, but but now with these things, given that they're so good, you can easily have a Devanagari script.
Yeah, they do have.
You can put a VP or something.
The
Then
Google
VP software
already
comes
has
in
it.
different language.
Raj, I have a
You can change
different
it.
question for you. Very different.
But I think there's an opportunity there. I think there's an entrepreneurial opportunity to create a successful companies. That's what China does. You look at the successful companies and mindsets that are working in the West and create Chinese equivalent, and they take off.
But that's something they've been doing for ages. So forget about the IT companies. Even they take technologies, they like we are in the pipe industry and management. Germany has the most latest technologies and everything. So they create companies. They put together actually handpick and put together scientists, and then they partner with management. They said okay, we will partner. We want to buy 1 mill from you. They bought 1 mill and today in China is competing with management. A lot of Chinese companies are actually selling in India now. Big 1,000 crore plants. So that's how they have been doing for ages.
Is that a very difficult thing for us to do?
I mean, that is something that government can do.
thing is that, ultimately, entrepreneur, we should solve the problem.
So we got 10
Our
minutes.
challenge is,
And I'm looking forward to the 14-point framework. Yeah.
Okay, anyway, I think there's a lot of opportunities. I just try to kind of, anyway, these are kind of 14 rules for us. And I think, I'll just give you the presentation. Just send it to everybody. But basically, it's the same 8 points, but, kind of in a very structured way as to what you should do. Like failures and integral. All of these, can be elaborated with specific examples. And I kind of gave you the example of how we develop the product for selected customers, continuous iteration pivots, all that stuff. So these are the 14 rules of entrepreneurship, and you basically have to really make all 14 rules something that you live, breathe, eat, sleep with, and because ultimately these 14 rules are, I think, the fundamental blocks on which, columns on which your entrepreneurial company will live or die, So,
Any reason for selecting 14 instead of 15 or 10? Because
I think,
you rounded off there.
I don't know. It's actually from a book called, there's a guy called Steve Black, who's also a serial entrepreneur from Silicon Valley. He worked at Epiphany, started Epiphany. It's just a very top-notch. But he's actually put the effort to write a book called The Startup Manual. Yeah, so I use this book as a textbook for my class. And these are the 14 rules. But more important than the 14 rules is actually applying them to each entrepreneur's journey. What did he do right or wrong along the 14? And did it succeed or fail? Or, what happened to his success based on 14? Right? So that is even more important, because once this becomes a part of your thinking framework as you build your company, you find that a lot of stuff becomes well understood. You say, oh, this is what's happening in the business situation, business context, and this is what I should do.
Raj, we need a semiconductor industry happening in India. We're going to import the largest amount. Our import for semiconductor, if you look at will be higher than our oil. So how do you do that engage the process? What should be the model for us to go about doing it as startup entrepreneurs, as entrepreneurs, what's your suggestion?
Well,
you have a story to tell with Opti. And we can probably learn from you and probably engage you also in different places to see how you can engage the people, because that's extremely important for the Indian context, right?
so the good thing is that, it's really Indians who are pretty much running all the big companies. All the semiconductor companies are run by Indians, right? Intel, TI, VLSI, National, everyone is run by Indians. That's a beautiful thing. Yeah, whether it's engineering, product marketing, all Indians, everywhere. So basically, the way semiconductor industry got into Israel, got into Malaysia, got into Taiwan. It's basically by having public-private partnership. So, without Taiwan government supporting TSMC, having Taiwan banks properly support TSMC or Acer or whatever, or UMC, to go ahead and build kind of a next generational thing in partnership with TI or whoever, it would not happen, because here you need $2 billion to start. And so it's got to be public-private partnership, and basically, partnership is very easy with these companies like Intel, simply because we're working with other Indians on the other side, on that across the table. And so I think that none of this is difficult anymore, because we've got access. It's just a question of getting the vision bought into at all levels, between the bank, between the government, whatever the powers that be, so that look at what you're talking about in semiconductors is also equivalent to economy. Tata Nano, why did it not make it in West Bengal, but has completely changed the landscape of manufacturing in Gujarat. And I went to Sanand. You go to Sanand, they will blow your mind. That one Tata Nano that he got, Modi got, now Ford is putting $2 billion. Now next to it, Maruti. Now, place is ridiculous. And then all the companies supplying product into this. It's like, the price of land, the price of, it's like from 2 lakh people that Sanand is going to get to 1 crore people in 10 years. If you can imagine what. And it was all farmland, all arid desert-like farmland.
Unfortunately, it didn't work for the Tatas.
Huh?
Unfortunately, it didn't work for the
That's
Tatas.
a
It didn't work for the Tatas. Like Tata stories like
Nano is still going to succeed here. I mean, now I'm seeing Nano more and more everywhere, especially the LX version. At 2.5 lakhs, it's a killer dog. Like everybody, once you go to the small towns and villages, it's only Nano everywhere. Because
export market. There's a big export market.
yeah, there is a market segment that requires small cars, low price, low power. Because you don't want a high-powered car going through those gullies, in villages and towns. So there is a market for it, and it's going to. I think it could be a big success. I think you just have to. They've had a bad start, as we all know. But
I wanted to buy a Nano because it was so much hype about it. Put on because there's a huge list. You have to wait for 1 year, 2 years, crazy. Because it's fun to have. It was so much hype. Everyone wanted to buy it.
yeah, but
Then it was so much hype.
It's not a status.
Yeah, there's
no
Bombay, nobody will buy it.
For the curiosity,
for those media,
for the curiosity, you want to buy.
everybody wants a Nano there. Nobody wants.
Not anymore, but then when the hype was there,
Yeah.
a lot of people want to buy it because they had the hype. So let's see what it is all about. I want to buy it. 2 lakhs, 2.5 lakhs, no big deal. Most of the people, chalo, take, yeah. The cheaper they take,
What's happening to that for your daughter or
Ah.
son? Their cardboard.
Raj, actually, meeting.
Okay, guys.
downstairs.
Perfect.
Are you here for the next?
Actually, I'm leaving for it tonight.
Tonight. Then back to US. Okay.
Looks like most likely I'll be teaching at IIT Mumbai this time, and so it'll be August.
So I'll connect with you. I have a lot of things to discuss with you.
You've been serial entrepreneur.
Yeah.
When you go public, the VCs have tried to you whatever they have constructed. So it is basically retail investor who puts in the money looking at the management, right, the founder. So how do you feel when you again go back to invest in your new venture? So any particular thing, because ultimately retail investor lose wherever whatever is happening today. We have seen lots of companies going bust.
Yeah, but I think like this is share market. So I would not worry about it. I think you just have to try to do your best. An investor can do what he wants. He can invest, he can buy, sell stock, whatever. I don't think about that. I just want to run the company ethically, successfully, profitably. I just want to do the best job I can, and the team should do the best job I can. Okay, share price will go where it will go. That is not important.
It's like water will find its own level.
Whatever kind of
Eventually, if you try to mess around with it, yeah, you might see the upside down. Eventually, markets, people, and analysts. And I'm sure somebody was an analyst.
Yeah.
I think eventually people find what is good. You might have this reservation. Eventually, you know what quality is there. You know what corporate governance is. Eventually, it's time. That's why Tata's is what Tata's is all about, right? Eventually, it's management that keeps reflecting again and again and again. And that's why Reliance, for example, is nowhere. In the last 4 years, it's the same price. Not because of any other reason, because the market understands. After some point,
is retail investors' money is sucked by DBCs in your earlier case, right?
No.
It happens in some cases. It doesn't happen with every retail
Yeah,
investor.
it's a strategic.
It's a strategic decision. Maybe I made a mistake by not buying some of their dogs, because it would have become a greenhouse with a little bit of more money, more team, whatever. like Google buys a lot of companies. Like Facebook bought $19 billion to put on that. I would not put 19 billion buy WhatsApp. I would not spend 3 billion to buy instead. But you know, that is, my vision is lacking. My ability to see what they see is lacking. I can't see what Mark Zuckerberg is seeing, but he's seeing something that you know is actually probably very good, because every time he buys these companies for 3 billion, 10 billion, his stock double, goes up by 10, 20%, or 30%.
So what do you think of this?
He earns back even more than what he puts in. I mean, we bought
But
WhatsApp
do you
at
think that's a
57,
good
now it's at
idea?
68, which is, he's already earned back his 20 billion.
What do you think of these numbers, high numbers? Because sometimes it's like only 3 billion in cash and 40 billion in stocks and 3 billion which will come later and all. So as a serial entrepreneur yourself and living in US and all, have you seen that numbers really translate to money in the bank, or it's just in paper, on paper kind of thing?
Well, it's all cash.
Because we always try to highlight the big number, right?
It's all cash available, but it's cash flow over time. And you don't want to put all that money out because you're going to get exposed to tax. So when they sell, 1%, whatever, and then you can take care of it. You can go buy a house, go buy a helicopter or whatever, spend the money.
So it can be the benchmark.
Facebook
I mean,
paid
okay, I give you 10 rupees, but 5 will you now. 5 when you
WhatsApp is a-
I don't understand it.
Why do
Maybe
you
you
think
so
maybe you
valuation
don't
is
understand it.
whoever it's
But Mark Zuckerberg understands it. And
so it's all
the stock market believes
that
he
excludes
understands it better than we
excludes
understand. That's why
you cannot just bought money.
he bought it.
Yeah, that's price.
He bought it for 20 billion. And already the appreciation of his stock, because of the boldness of his decision, has made his stock worth 40 billion. So he's doubled whatever he invested in WhatsApp. Because
But is he doing it for that?
doing it for world domination. He wants to dominate how human beings interact with each other. He wants to dominate that world. And see, I think one thing to realize is that what is entertainment itself is changing with this new technologies and the new things that are happening. See, previously for us, entertainment was listening to music, watching movies, or going to a picnic. Now, it's like you go to a restaurant and the entertainment is people doing Facebook, have their 4 friends around, with somebody, 20 other friends who are somewhere in motion space. But that's entertainment. So that is what gives joy and pleasure and happiness to people. And guess who's providing a platform for that? Facebook. And he's saying, I'm not only going to participate in this entertainment that everybody's having individually for 2 hours a day, everybody does Facebook. But I'm also going to participate in how they communicate with each other. So with WhatsApp, they've now got 350 million users, adding 1 million users every day. And it's happening now organically. They don't have to do any marketing, it just happens virally. So when 350 million people are basically building their, updating each other in their friend circles, etc. Now for him to create a new messaging app that will get 350 million users is very difficult. Or for anybody else.
He's failed at that.
So he'd rather buy with $19 billion, 350 million users, communication platform. He's buying the communication platforms, and there are not that many communication platforms available for purchase with 350 million users. So he bought basically the best one with the most users and the one that is very well designed from a standpoint, and probably they have a game plan that we have
This,
reviewed.
he has this venture on internet.org. So someone has written that actually it's like part of that plan to power internet.org, which is reaching out to the next billion internet users and all.
Exactly. So the thing is that right now, all the changes that are going on in industry, in everybody's day-to-day life, and now scale it over 2 billion people, maybe 3 billion people every year. Everybody starts. There's a rising tide right now. The whole world economy is at least looks like it's going to be on a big upswing because basically, like, America has successfully broken the oil sheikhs, the oil cartels control over the global economy. Because that was a big drain on the economy of the world when you give money to Arabs who don't know what to do with the money, right? And they're just, sitting on it, they're putting it in the bank, and then, creating,
Large airlines. Large airlines.
whatever they're wrong. But they're basically, they're not, see, money has value when it is spent. Money has no value when it is in the bank. For everybody.
It has to be in circulation.
The more circulation, the faster the money runs around, the better it's for everybody's happiness. But the oil cartel has been broken by fracking in the US. Now the US has got so much oil that by 2016 they'll be exporting oil. Where we used to be the world's biggest importer, right? Till a little bit back. So it's like, oil prices are not going to become $1,000 a barrel. It's going to stay $100 a barrel or less. The cost of fracking is around $40, $45 per barrel. So as long as the cost of oil is not below 45, it's going to continue to, they're going to move the oil through fracking. And which means that, now you've got a stable oil price and you don't have to worry about the Arabs controlling this and so on. So right now, I think the whole global economy is just ready to take off. So you can get the corruption under control in the US, in India, and you can get a very proactive, progressive growth model going. I think the sky's the limit for the next 5 to 10 years.
So from your experience, it seems that it's better to put all eggs in one basket rather than doing, say, services for bootstrapping and then doing the product on the other side. I mean, what is your opinion?
My opinion is that you're going to be damn good at what you do. And most people can only be good at one thing. Because it requires, you're going to compete with people who are so focused. So, and each of these things can make you successful. You don't have to be successful in multiple things. So, find out one thing that you can be very, very good at, better than anybody, and just become the king of that business. Become the best of that. So each of these is huge market segments. It's a global economy. So you're not constrained to one thing, new business. You can sell to anywhere in India, anywhere abroad. To the globalization of the entire platform, global. Nothing is, no barriers anymore.
Sounds good. Thanks very much, guys. I think it was very insightful and hope you guys had a good time. I think a big round of applause.
Yes, because there's so much happening that, we can, I think entrepreneurship is a great, very fun way to spend your time. There's challenges everywhere and you're always actively solving them. It's a very positive kind of orientation. That's the great thing about that. Teaching how to have an entrepreneurial career rather than a corporate career. I mean, even in corporate, you can still be entrepreneurial. So there's no reason why you cannot be entrepreneurial within corporate. Obviously, there'll be more constraints. But the whole idea is that be positive about, developing skills, personal skills, etc. When you're working. Okay, thank you very much.